Here's a question that sounds simple, but has a wild answer. Did ancient people get Alzheimer's? The short version? Almost never. And that changes everything we think we know about this disease. Alzheimer's wasn't even named until 1906. But that's not the surprising part. In 2024, researchers at USC combed through centuries of Greek and Roman medical writing. Hippocrates, Aristotle, Galen, Pliny the Elder, hunting for any mention of severe memory loss in old age. They found almost nothing. Hippocrates cataloged plenty of old age complaints: deafness, dizziness, bad digestion. Memory loss? Barely a mention. Even Cicero, writing an entire essay on the miseries of old age, never brings up losing your memory. And he was writing in the 1st century BCE. It's not until the Roman era, writers like Galen, that we start seeing hints of real cognitive decline. Galen notes that some elderly people struggled to learn new things by age 80. So for roughly 800 years of recorded history, severe dementia was basically a footnote. That doesn't mean cognitive aging was invisible. It means it looked different. What ancient people did experience was something closer to mild cognitive impairment. A little forgetfulness, slower recall, nothing like the total unraveling of memory, speech, and identity we associate with Alzheimer's today. And ancient societies had a framework ready for that. Old age itself was treated as a kind of illness, an imbalance of the body's humors in the Greek medical tradition. Plato wrote about wandering humors corrupting the mind. Memory loss, when it appeared, wasn't a distinct disease. It was just old age doing what old age does. There was no diagnosis, no hospital ward, just family. Here's the part modern viewers find fascinating. Elder care wasn't outsourced. In Greek and Roman households, and just as much in Egyptian society, caring for an aging or confused relative was a family duty, often written directly into law and custom. Children were expected to support parents in old age. It was a moral and sometimes legal obligation. There was no isolation. An elder losing their sharpness stayed inside the rhythm of daily life, in the house, at the table, part of the household economy, rather than being separated out as a patient. That mattered, because one of the biggest risk factors for cognitive decline today, isolation, was almost structurally impossible in a world where multiple generations lived and worked under one roof. Here's the theory. Researchers are now taking seriously. Alzheimer's disease might not be an ancient companion of aging at all. It might be a disease of modern life. The USC researchers point to sedentary lifestyles, air pollution, and industrial-era exposures as possible drivers behind the explosion of dementia cases we see today. Ancient people walked constantly, ate differently, breathed cleaner air, and stayed embedded in family networks most of their lives. They still aged. Some clearly did decline, but full-blown epidemic-level Alzheimer's, affecting a third of people over 85 like we see today, that pattern barely shows up before the Roman era. And even then, only in a handful of texts. So the real story isn't that ancient people had some secret cure for Alzheimer's. It's that they may not have needed one, which raises an uncomfortable question for us. If this disease really is tied to how we live now, what does that mean for how we age going forward? Let me know what you think in the comments.